G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome to vlog number 31. Let's get on with it. This was a Friday night session at Adelaide Casino. The Port Adelaide Football Club were playing just across the river. I think I've got a bit of a picture of the stadium going through the poker room window, if I can remember rightly. See if I can find that. And the only other bit I can't find is my halftime review, which basically was when I was down about 280. I got caught in the hand, which is actually the title to this vlog, where my triple set of nines ran into a set of kings up against a pair of jacks. So check out the hand reviews for that one. It was a fairly interesting hand. So let's get on with it. We'll catch you guys soon.
On myself, pick out dust them off, put them back up on the shelf. Kiss my little baby girl is in need. Am I coming out of left field? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Got another mouth to feed. Leave it with the babies till the mama call the grave digger. Gone with the falling leaves. Am I coming out of left field? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might have had your fill, but I feel it still.
So just heading down a couple of alleyways at the moment, about 5 minutes from the casino. Pretty dark here now, just gone into winter. Obviously daylight saving stopped about 4 or 5 weeks ago, so it gets dark pretty early now. But yeah, catch you guys at the casino in a minute.
Be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Might have had your fill, but I feel it still.
Right, let's get a couple of these hand reviews done. Sorry about the voice, she's a bit husky. Come up with a bit of a cold. I think it was after that bloody stupid fishing trip we went on, which you might have seen a bit by now. Not too sure, I haven't edited it yet, but probably put a bit of that in before it. If not, I'll let you know. Went out fishing, out in a boat, in the sea. It was crap. This is a hand that was in the title of the vlog. Bit of a crazy hand. This is about the 4th time I've tried to talk my way through this hand. I keep stuffing up, so I'm just going to go no matter what now. So I had a pair of 10s middle position. I was up against the guy to my right in seat 5 and also under the gun. I can tell you what they had now because it's going to show up in a minute. Just got flat called before the flop, which was a bit weird. Everyone was slow playing it. I probably should have raised, but in the end probably glad I didn't. Bloke under the gun actually had a pair of jacks. Guy to my right had a pair of kings. So The jacks ends up betting, then it gets raised to 120. I'm looking at it, I've just got to go for it. Got my trip 10s, got my set of 10s. After the guy to my right raises, I decided just to go all in. I want to get rid of as many as I can, and hopefully I'm just head to head. As it was, the guy in seat 2 under the gun went in the tank for a fair while, and ended up calling. He only had 103 on him, so he ended up calling with his jacks, and the other guy only had 118 left, and obviously he called. He had the kings. I ended up coming a very good last, and the guy with the jacks fluked it and got the straight. So just a bit about that last hand. I don't know if I played it right or not, but with them slow playing their jacks and their kings, which is a bit crazy, and me slow playing me 10s, I think my all-in was correct. No way I could pick him for a pair of kings, and couldn't pick him for jacks, but when I got the set, I had to go for it. So probably would never change anything the way I played that hand. This next hand was a bit crazy too. Well, not that crazy, but it's about the very next hand, or it might have been 2 later, and I run into the guy that had the jacks that won the last pot. Middly, I'm probably slightly on tilt here because I got cleaned up with me set of 10s. I get dealt jack 9. I'm back in about middle position again. They're suited. I just calls all the way around, and the big blind checks. So the big blind's a guy that had the jacks in the last hand. Flop comes okay for me, so I've got highest pair there. Checks back around to me. I decided to bet $25. Get rid of a couple of them, and I'm back up against the big blind again, who calls. So it's just heads up now. Next card is a king. That scares me a bit there. He ends up checking. I put in a $30 bet. I'm just going to take a chance here. Was a bit worried about it. He ends up calling again. So obviously I was still a bit on tilt here. Then I get the dream card, another 9. I bet $95, and I do it fairly quickly, as though I'm probably putting in a bit of a bluff here. He knows I'm probably a bit on tilt. He did go into the tank for a fair while, and then he made the call. So ended up winning a nice little pot there. Next hand, I'm in middle position, and I run into the big blind, who's an old bloke. He'd been on the table most of the night. Didn't really know what he was doing, but he was just doing crazy bets all night. Lots of donk bets. Just all of a sudden someone had raised, and the turn had come, and he'd just come straight in and donk bet, and half the time he didn't know what he had. He'd get a pair, he'd think he was going pretty good. So I'd been waiting most of the night to have a little crack at this guy, but it wasn't happening until this hand. And so he was, like I said, he's a big blind. I get dealt Queen 10, and I put in a little raise up to $12. I get a couple of other callers, and I get the big blind, who also calls. This is the old guy there. Flop comes fairly handy for me. I get my queen, my 10 there, get my 10. So he checks. I put a continuation bet of $25. That gets rid of a couple of the others, but the old guy comes along for the ride again. Now with the turn, we get a queen, and all of a sudden he just donk bets me straight in with $35. That's what I'd been waiting for him to do. He'd been doing it all night. Obviously I could have raised here, but I knew he was going to go again, so I just called his bet, and then we get a king. The king did scare me a bit, but I knew he'd go again. He bet 65. I probably should have value betted here, but I end up just calling. The king did scare me a bit. Probably played it a bit soft, but yeah, take that one down. So a couple of hands I want to talk about is couple of flushes I got. Like one was an eight high, one was a queen high. Both times when I got them on the river, I think the river, one might even been on the turn as well, I got donk bet into. So it always, obviously it's going to scare me that someone's got the bigger flush. So both times I called, and both times I end up winning. So probably didn't read the player that well. They get their two pair, I suppose, and or three of a kind thing, hands like that, and they're maybe going to bet if they don't know what they're doing. But maybe sometimes I overvalue their hands. Not too sure, but probably looking back at it, it was probably the right thing to do. You never know when they're going to have a bigger flush. But yeah, I just think sometimes the newer players in there on maybe overvaluing what their hands are at times. A couple other hands which really annoy me, but I know it's the right play, but it's probably going to happen to you guys at some stage. Like about the third hand of the night, I get dealt, what do I have, 9-10, and I was under the gun. They weren't suited or anything, so I end up just folding, which is pretty well the correct play. And then the flop ends up coming 7-8 jack, so I would have got the straight, and there's three other players ended up being all in with three of a kind and two pairs, shit like that, and I would have taken down a bloody huge pot. So for the next half an hour you're thinking, oh, why didn't I play? But definitely did the right play there. You can't be playing rubbish like that all the time. Maybe if I was up $400 or $500 and you're on a bit of a rush, might have given it a crack. But that happened a couple of times during the night, and it's going to happen to you guys all the time when you chuck out a stupid hand like 4-5 and the flop comes ace-2-3 or something like that. That just happens. The better players are going to be folding those hands, and bad players end up going to play in that crap. And the worst thing that can happen for a new player is to win on those, because then they're going to start playing every bloody hand, which is probably bad for them and good for us. But yeah, probably what I'm trying to say, don't panic too much if you chuck in a winning hand. Tends to be only the good players do that, so don't worry about it.